Thank you. What's happening?
I know that we all make mistakes. That's why pencils have erasers. We all make mistakes. It's that simple. So really at this point, what you have left is your word and your credibility. And people always think the worst, okay, until they know the truth. You do it and I do it. It's just human nature. So we're all going to think the worst until we know why, for sure, this has happened. You know that deep down that this is your chance to get this off your chest. So you're not sitting there for the rest of your life saying, I guess I should have said something. I guess I should have gotten it off my chest and said my side of the story. Because this is your last chance to do it. We deal with these types of situations and the reasons why people do this stuff all the time, okay? Like I said, this might have been a thing that you just snapped and you did something. That stuff happens. It happens to everybody, to one degree or another. Or it may have been something that you planned for many months just to get some enjoyment out of. We've seen that before as well. You're not doing yourself any good by not being truthful. Because by not being truthful, all you have left is your credibility. That is all you have left, okay? You're not the only person who's been arrested and charged for something like this, and there's no surprises left here anymore, okay? You and I need to have a discussion. This isn't a parking ticket. This is reality. You need to be realistic about this. You have no battle plan to deal with this. And it's happened. It's spun out of control. And you think, okay, if I ever get caught for it, what am I going to do? Well, your plan isn't going to work, okay? Because you're not built for this shit. This isn't what you're about. You're not some sick bastard that sits there and gets enjoyment out of hurting people, all right? So now you have to live with this, okay? Human nature is very simple. We all appreciate it when people are honest with us and when we all admit our mistakes and acknowledge when things get out of hand. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's also times when we're not tolerant of people that won't be honest in a situation. There's no other way. You don't have any other options. There's nothing else that you can do to change what happened. We can't turn back time. However, we can explain how things got off the rails. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, am I dealing with someone who's got all these issues? And am I dealing with someone that people are going to think is some kind of monster? Or am I dealing with someone who let something get out of control? Okay, they got excited and they couldn't control it. I think that it got out of hand. If you're asking my professional opinion, I'm telling you, I'm on video saying this. I think that this is a situation that simply got out of hand. That's my professional opinion, and I believe that, okay? I don't think that you're some kind of sick monster. And if I did, you'll find me pretty candid. You'll find that I'll just come right out and tell you, okay? And I don't think that, okay? I think this is a situation that got out of control. I just think it got out of hand. Okay, are you some kind of monster, or did you just make a mistake? You made a mistake, right? This is just a mistake, right? You'd take it back if you could. The reality of it is, I can walk away, but you're going to have to sit and deal with this on your own for the rest of your life. And I'm here to tell you that I'm pointing out some obvious things. And you see, all I've really done here today is point out common sense. You're a smart guy. You're nobody's fool. You know the situation. You know you're in a tough spot. But there's a lot of things here that we can't just sit and ignore, okay? I have a simple rule when I talk to people. I'm sure you're the same way. I treat everybody with respect, and I ask that you do the same for me. To avoid any confusion, because a lot of people do get confused when they're talked to by the police, is that you're obviously not under arrest here today. So anytime you feel you want to leave, you're totally free to do so. The door is not locked. Now, essentially, when you're looking at these kinds of crimes, we are looking at a number of different potential criminal charges, okay? We're looking at issues all the way from the most serious one, which is first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, breaking and entering with intent to commit sexual assault, and forcible confinement. So what I want to make sure you understand, and this is what we've been doing with everybody we've been talking to, is that clearly when we find out who's responsible for one or all of those crimes, they could be charged with one or all of those offenses, whether it's you or somebody else. And that's why it's important that we make sure that people understand what they have to do and what they don't have to do when they are talking to us. You got that email notifying you that something had happened, right? Do you have any kind of clear recollection as to how your schedule was going that week? So if we were to do a similar investigation into your background, is there anything you could think of that anyone might have misinterpreted? Anything on your history that might make someone say you did this? So the next thing we need to cover is, and I'm just going to ask you this straight out, given the types of crimes we're investigating, do you get much chance to watch television shows, CSI, things like that? So the next thing we need to cover is, and I'll just ask you straight out, given the types of crimes that we're investigating here, do you ever get to watch television, sort of cop shows, CSI, stuff like that? Okay, now that you've had some time, and I know we've been throwing a lot of things at you here, but now that you've had some time to think about things, is there anything that you're concerned about that might match you to any of those residences? Is there any contact that you might have had with any of those 4 women that you may not want your wife to be aware of? Anything like that that we should know about that would try and explain why, if your DNA is found, to help us understand why it might be there? Now, I told you when I came in here that I'm going to treat you with respect, and I've asked you to do the same for me. We've talked about the whole idea of how we've approached you. Do that again. I told you when I came in here that I'm going to treat you with respect, and I've asked you to do the same. We've talked about the whole idea of how we've approached you here, okay? And I'm trying to be as discreet as possible. But the problem is, every time I walk out of this room, there's another issue that comes up, okay? And it's not an issue that points away from you. It's an issue that points to you. You want discretion, I totally understand. But we need to have some honesty from you, okay? Because this is getting a little out of control pretty quickly. And when I say pretty quickly, it's starting to happen fast. And when it starts to happen fast, it's starting to get way beyond my control. So your opportunity to take some control is now. To have some explanation that anyone is going to believe is quickly expiring. What are we going to do? The video is going to play a very key role. Videotaped evidence is a key role in this investigation. Because there's cameras everywhere, the average citizen is on camera 8 times a day, whether we go to a gas station, a coffee shop, we drive through a street light. There are cameras everywhere. Certain weather stations have cameras, news station has cameras, so we will go through a minimum of 8 cameras a day. You'll go through them, I'll go through them. We've all done that. There's no questioning what we've seen on these cameras and the fact that they're around everywhere. You and I need to have a talk. This isn't a parking ticket. This is reality. People will assume the worst until they know the truth, okay? People are going to assume the worst of you. They're going to assume the worst unless you and I sit here and clarify it. Something has pushed you to do this. You can't just fly under the radar for your entire life. It doesn't happen. It's not realistic. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that happens. Something brings us on. We can't control every emotion. We can't control all of our urges. We can't control all of our thoughts. None of us can. I can't look at you in the face and say that I haven't made a mistake or made a bad decision in my life, because I have. The reality of it is, you and I have to accept this and move on, okay? Because I can walk out there and never see you again. I can do that. But you and I need to walk out of here together with what's happened here. You and I need to sit here and say, this is what pushed me over the top. This is what pushed me to get involved in something like this. Because if I don't, then you're sitting here on your own and you're going to have to take this by yourself. And that is not necessarily fair. You need to be realistic. You have no battle plan. You have no plan to deal with this. It's happened. It's spun totally out of control. And you think, okay, if I ever get caught for it, what am I going to do? Well, whatever your plan was isn't going to work. You're not built for this shit. This isn't what you're about. You're not some sick bastard that sits there and gets enjoyment out of hurting people, okay? So now you have to live with what you have done. And to live with it, one of the first ways, right? It's like if someone's an alcoholic. What's the first thing they have to do? Acknowledge that they've got a problem. Acknowledge that they've got the issue. You have an issue here, and there's overwhelming evidence that indicates that you're involved. But you need to be honest, and you need to understand. Your credibility is all you have left. And you're sitting here and saying nothing doesn't do you a bit of good because no one's going to know. And then all of a sudden, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, you decide to say something, and who's going to listen? Nobody's going to listen, okay? The evidence is very clear, and I'm only giving you bits and pieces. If I sit here from A to Z and tell you all of it, we'd be here all night. And that's really not my purpose. So you need to understand what's going on. And like I said, you were probably feeling pretty good about yourself for a while because really it wasn't for some time that the police had been around to see you. And you can see that I'm not being graphic, actually out of respect for you, but I can sit here and get as graphic as I want, okay? Because none of this stuff bothers me. I've seen it 100 times. But if I sit here and go over what's happened, you may not be really happy about it because it's going to cause you to relive all this crap.